The Wrestling Mayhem Show. Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us and IndyWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you got to do, make it last.
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, episode 913. Tuesdays or so, we've been talking about professionalized wrestling. I'm sorry, it's the Monday Mayhem Show. This is actually pretty special, a little bit in my own mind, because this is actually the time slot and day that we had originally started doing what became the Wrestling Mayhem Show back in the day when I had a little Shoutcast server, old computer hooked up to my internet where we would broadcast and chat over an AOL Instant Messenger. I'm going all the way back to 2005 on this one. I don't even think we were a Wrestling Mayhem Show. But anyways, yes, we are in a special date and time because my travel plans have changed, and I decided let's do it in the studio instead of tearing half the studio out and bringing it with me. So with me on this magical late night Monday journey post Monday Night Raw is one Tony Kincaid, voice of so much of the wrestling around the, let's say, greater Pittsburgh, southwestern PA. No, western PA. Damn it. I keep forgetting about Erie. Can't forget about Erie.
Well, I don't know why you're forgetting about Erie when Erie is such a big league.
Wow, Tony, thank you for joining me here today. Of course, we'll talk about it later. You're going to be a part of two very big shows coming up this week with Prospect Pro Wrestling, or I'm sorry, LDE.
There you go,
I'm
good
still,
boy.
Listen. I have so many style guides and brand guides, and you should see the brand guide I got from Lebanon Dawn Enterprises. Right? It was.
Did you get? Hold up. Did you get Draft 3 or Draft 4? Because Draft 3 has a huge change to the typographic font for the website and the body text that needs to be focused on.
Yeah, and it was like there's a lot of like sepia tone filters that they want on stuff, and I've been kind of just asking forgiveness instead of permission on that one, and I'm kind of worried about what those methods are at this point.
You really want to put out there that you're asking for forgiveness over permission on live television, or the airwaves rather, when you're talking to someone who is considered the voice of LDE for what used to be Prospect Pro Wrestling, now is Lebanon Dawn Enterprises. You actually want to let me know, and you think that I'm not going to rat you out? Well, you're lucky that I have money invested in both this product and personal stake in LDE, so I'm not going to rat you out. I'll let LDE find this out when his PR team gets a hold of this later tonight.
Well, this has been the Wrestling Mayhem Show. I'm going to go somewhere else, not be where people can find me. Yes. Anyways, well, while I am still able to be here, let's get into some wrestles for the week. So I think one of the bigger ones of the weekend, one of the more different, interesting partnerships, we should say. What did I say a couple weeks ago? If you're getting really tired of UFC crossing over, Wake UFC does business creeping into your wrestling, there's another channel. Well, guess what? It really NXT Battleground emanated from the. If you didn't hear this enough times on Sunday, I thought it was an Apple keynote as many times as they mentioned it. The UFC APEX in Las Vegas. Is where it emanated from. I looked at because I was curious because it felt like a smaller venue than I thought the Performance Center was as far as the attendance and how it sounded and things. It was. I checked out WrestleTix on Twitter. Great Twitter account that does kind of track. You're like, okay, this is how many tickets have been sold, how many are left. There's a floor plan, kind of stuff, like really good kind of data stuff. And it was set up for just over 700 people. You wouldn't have known it because it was, as a video professional, there's a jib crane from the ceiling. What I was excited about technically. WWE did that from the lighting rig for a very brief period. I have a feeling that it was too difficult to set up on a weekly basis. So, but every time they did that, I'm great for the Octagon. I actually pulled up some UFC stuff on YouTube, like some of the best up clips. See what does this look like compared to what the wrestling looked like, which was built for the octagon, right? And it works well, but there's just so much space. Like they didn't even like fill the floor in a lot of cases there, and that's what like kind of made it feel emptier to me. Was those bits of gaps that felt like that they had there. What was your vibe from that show and how it came off?
So I remember, I watched a lot of UFC fights during COVID when everything was being done in the Apex, and it felt even more empty back then. So seeing the Apex in a situation, and now they run fight night shows in there and occasional events for UFC. The big thing with the Apex is it's a lot like your independent gymnasiums in that it is very intimate in its setting. It can probably get a lot bigger than 700 if they really wanted to max the floor out. But I liked the sizing because it made it feel like when you were watching the matches, it felt like everything was being done sort of in a mini a black box theater is probably the best way to describe it for anyone who knows theater. A black box theater is sort of and the theater floor is lower and everything is elevated above, so you have a top-down look going on, and I think that added a lot to a big match feel, gave a very interesting stadium feeling, arena feeling, while not risking a lot of crunch in trying to shove in as many people. It also, NXT is supposed to be a developmental area. This is a good place to experiment with different venues and get good ideas. Even if something doesn't work once, the Apex is in the TKO, the Endeavor portfolio.
Yeah.
Use it. Like, especially like if it doesn't work for a Battleground, if it doesn't work for a premium live event, sending NXT tapings over to the West Coast isn't a bad idea.
I was thinking about that too. Is this a test run for them to maybe, move those operations to Vegas? Which that could very well be a thing. I mean, it made a lot of sense at the time when, WWE is a pretty East Coast operation coming out of Connecticut. Yeah. So going, that kind of hop to Orlando probably made a lot of sense. Now UFC, I think UFC is based in Vegas. Actually,
it is.
So maybe there would be, I don't know. Well, yeah, again, Stanford is still the WWE headquarters itself. But I wonder if there would be some chance for a partnership and shared assets there. As I mean, there's got to be training camps and God knows what for all the fighters and everything, and however else they manage that kind of thing. Could there be some kind of change to start shipping that? I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make sense because now you're talking about.
You don't want to mix your businesses.
Yeah, I guess
too much.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've heard about other companies that kind of do that with their other affiliates, and it gets really kind of peculiar, on these.
Well, so Peter, not to plug another podcaster, and I apologize to you, Sorg. I really do.
Apologize. I apologize. I mentioned 2 other podcasts that I was listening to on topic just tonight on the Awesome Cast. So like, it's okay. Like, there's other conversations.
So on Cheap Heat, they were talking, and Dipperstein, who for those who don't know is also MJF's agent and is a big player in the LA market, and of course everyone knows Peter Rosenberg if you've watched any of the pre-shows for WWE. They were talking about mixing this, and I agreed with them on this, is that you cannot dilute the market of UFC too much, and you can't dilute the market of WWE too much, because while they're both under the combat sport window, without saying too much, you know what I'm about to say. So you cannot have people thinking that UFC is on the gimmick, and you can't have WWE thinking people thinking that WWE is falling into the chute. They have to be 2 completely different combat sports. So some mesh here and there is fine, but you don't want to gray the area too much. So the Apex, if you want to start shooting West Coast shows or do like a WWE Developmental West and start trying to tap into the PWG market, Defy, up there, that's a good place to have there if you want to hit the West Coast market. Like, that is a great place to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to bring in some East Coast and put some money in the Orlando Center and start developing a UFC area for shows to be done there, where you can have East Coast fighters based out of Orlando, and now they're fighting in fight nights on the East Coast, so they don't have to spend so much money before they get that guaranteed UFC contract, and the money's being fronted by TKO Endeavor, but it's on WWE property. That's fine. There just has to be a physical wall, a visual and physical and literal and metaphorical, and every wall you possibly can think of needs to be put there.
So I wonder what you're thinking of that, because I was thinking something relatively similar to this, because that's kind of story and that meshing. We saw a lot of UFC people, either in the promos or in the stands here on Sunday. So we were seeing that meshing, and then to the point where we ended up having Shayna Baszler really putting over her experience with UFC against Solveruca. No,
No.
Lola Vice.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I did that without my NXT cheat sheet.
I didn't want to correct you, but yeah.
But the flippy one is Solveruca.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Both of those. I was already in for the Kalani Jordan. Glad to see Kalani won the belt, and they mentioned it tonight on Raw, and I was putting that over too. But both I think great showings on that. But again, like we did the NXT Underground thing, right? We came back to like this. Hey, this is UFC like, but I felt like they made pains to make sure it didn't look like UFC when they were doing it.
Which you have to do when you're doing the underground matches. You have to separate those two. They did the same thing with Riddle's variation on the undergrounds. You have to separate those two things, and it helps to a degree too that Shayna is just it's June now, so 2 months away out of Bloodsport, and had already established that to lean on, and both of them have UFC experience, so it's not that big of a suspension of disbelief, because both of them can legitimately like kick the crap out of each other, and neither of them is going to take it as an offense because they're both combat specialists.
Yep.
You couldn't do that with Johnny Come Tuesday. Like, I wouldn't buy Trick Williams. No offense to Trick Williams. I just wouldn't buy him in that fight unless they establish something else.
He's not that kind of athlete, right?
Exactly.
Like that's
we're not
putting the college cheerleader in the UFC ring in the underground ring, right? Because that doesn't translate, right?
Yeah.
So, but then because I've seen this in some indie promotions, like Lady Frost, we'll talk about her in a moment, like kind of translated really well. Also, her husband probably helped a whole lot of that.
I mean, you and I have both had enough run-ins with Lady Frost and Victor to know that they could legitimately throw down.
Oh yeah.
Like those two would fuck me
up. I think Lady Frost could have fucked us up before she started training. Okay, let's be honest about this. She is I always talk about, like, I don't know if I say this out loud on the show, but I always thought like Super Hentai was like, he's not a tall gentleman, but he's like the kind of person you still would not want to run into in a dark alley. Listen, like Lady Frost is not a large lady, but she is a threatening lady if she wants to be.
99.999% of people I run into, I would not want to meet in a dark alley. The 1% is Doc. That's it. I mean, realistically.
Well, there's that. And that's before you know about murder gymnastics. Okay, like seriously. But anyways, but no. So where were we going with this? I don't know what the point was.
I mean, we were talking about like
of pro wrestling and UFC. That's right.
Yeah, translations between the two, and there are certain wrestlers who can translate into that world.
Sure.
Lady Frost can do it 100%. Lady Frost is one of those people that can translate well into it. But on the flip side, her opponent from last week, Toni Storm, I really couldn't see do that. Even though I know,
not
Toni
in this
Storm
iteration, but
not in this not in this existence of timeless Tony Storm.
No.
Although I know Tony Storm could throw down if needed.
Absolutely, we've definitely seen it in past iterations. Like I would take the that first version of Tony Storm that I think we saw. Probably we all, for the most part, maybe first witness in probably a Mae Young Classic or something, right? Like that was just like, oh, okay, this is a badass, right? So, but no, it's really cool. So again, I see this show. I want to call this. There was a lot of gimmick booking, but there was a lot of gimmick booking on this show. And I think it's probably because we did want to put over the kind of showing off the UFC Apex Arena and all that kind of stuff too. But we did have Jordan Grace coming over from TNA, getting my three letters mixed up, coming over to TNA, trying to talk me into continuing to pay for TNA Plus after they canceled the YouTube's memberships. I was still sore about that. I didn't give them. They gave you 2 days. They gave you 2 days to sign up with a code to get the same price, $5 a month, before it jumped 2 months later to $10. It's like, well, what was the point, man? You know, like that seemed kind of rough to give me basically the same thing.
I mean, between you and me and anyone watching this, listening to this later, the TNA just, for all the good things they do, they just every once in a while will just take a firm face back to Panda Energy, and you're just like, guys, stop that, you're doing so well. Like,
and it's just like, oh man, and I was having trouble watching them to begin with, and that was just kind of the final straw. But then part of me is like, I should really be following them too. So, and not just the only service that I pay for that I don't really watch enough of. Looking at you, Wrestle Universe, looking at you, New Japan World, but or catching up on. I'm almost caught up on my Ring of Honor, by the way. So those shows thankfully got a lot shorter. So no more 2.5 hour Ring of Honors to try to sit through. So, but also they're really they're way more watchable. They're tightened up. I don't know. It's almost like they got a really good editor over there.
Wink.
So. Hey friends. Anyways, so he's probably worried about me not texting him things that I think about what I thought of the show every week.
Hey, listen, the amount of people from TNA that have helped me in my career, like you know this, like there are some guys over at TNA that have sat down with me and gone point for point, bar for bar on matches to make me better. So like I will always have a soft spot in my heart for TNA and its producers and its non-wrestlers and its wrestlers for the amount of effort they put in to making everything go below them. So I love them.
Another personal note that leads into another point I want to make about last night's show, Sunday night's show. They have been playing a lot of stuff in between matches last night. Like there weren't a lot of matches, but it was just like, God, this is terrible for the people sitting in the stands, right? Right? Like they were playing a lot of just random interstitials. Like you had a top 10 moments of the announcers cam kind of situation. I'm like, what are we doing here? How many ads are Peacock putting on this thing, right? Because that's what they're doing. They're covering up the ads. But I did appreciate they did a WWE 27 or 24 clip where it was Kevin Allen. What
Kevin Allen?
Fuck, Kevin Owens.
A cousin of Kevin Owens.
Yes, it's the almost cousin of. He knows where El Generico is. But no, they did a clip of that and Finn Balor, and I'm just like, I kind of perked up. I'm just like, I know this fucking voice, and it was I think it was Rich Berman or something at the time, right? But Rich Bocchini, who I've worked with several times, and it's the first time I've listened to one of Rich's matches from when he was there at WWE, because it was just like another Joe Schmo announcer as far as I was concerned at the time, right? Like he was like, okay, hey, here's rando guy number 7 at NXT, right? So that's not a slight on Rich, by the way. This is the one clip he's going to finally watch of this show, by the way.
Just like the clip of me saying that I want to be a evil Joe Dombrowski, and it's the only thing Joe knows about me.
Yep, exactly. So that's the clip he got tagged in, right? So somebody's gonna pull this and tag Rich. I just fucking know it. I don't even know when I'm going to see the dude next, but oh god, he'll probably be here this in Pittsburgh. He might actually be in Pittsburgh this weekend. I don't know. Anyways, that's not the point. But no, but still, other than that, like it does feel weird how they're formatting the shows, and I don't see that the main WWE shows have been like this. Although I think I've been watching most of them after the fact because of the schedule and the daytime stuff, and I'm usually working a show and stuff like that, right? So that was, I don't know. I didn't know if you had a take on that, if it did feel weird to you too. I mean, I was really just kind of watching it myself. I had just gotten in from my trip and like 10 minutes to spare. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, covering up cuts is. I'm gonna say something that you harp on me all the time is we have to have points where the segment ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to cover up those segments, and of course those gaps are larger in it.
Mm-hmm.
Peacock is the ones that are selecting these ads, and WWE doesn't want to be running an ad for some random ass show that they don't want any relation to, so they have to do these little package pieces together.
Yeah.
Sometimes you run out of ideas on these package pieces. It is what it is. It's still there. It's still promoting the wide brevity of what
Mm-hmm.
Peacock, formerly the WWE Network, has on their stuff, and it's gotten larger and larger. So
Mm-hmm.
it did take me a little bit out of the show,
Yeah.
but probably less than your average watcher because I know why they're there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a good time to, get a drink,
That
get
was a
popcorn, go to the
big
bathroom,
time. Big
things
time.
of that nature.
There had been a good 5 minutes plus between every match.
But I would rather have those 5 minutes in between matches than have people taking a break during women's wrestling. The old trope of the women's match and the death spot match being the piss break matches. Let's give pseudo intermissions into these WWE, AEW shows, New Japan. Let's let people stretch their legs for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think wrestling as a whole would be a lot healthier with an intermission at the
Sure.
major levels.
Sure. Yeah, to a point, and sometimes there kind of is. That was I remember Puffy's musical performance was when I got to pee at WrestleMania 29. But and I think it's maybe it's a different thing. Maybe you just don't have the assets or something because it's NXT. Because my understanding is when we usually get like the flashback packages leading into matches like at main WWE shows, that's when they're running the ads. The non-premium users don't get to see the lead into the match anymore.
Right. Well, I did notice there were a couple during WrestleMania weekend
Mm-hmm.
where they were doing some of those where they were, here's the story so far situations.
Mm-hmm.
But that some of them were like shills for Paul Heyman's DVD that's been out for about a decade, like or a tag in it was just a character profile on CM Punk or a character profile on Sami Zayn, and those are obviously the pieces that are being covered up by ad revenue, but they felt disjointed because at some point, sometimes they would relate to the match that was coming up or the match that came before, and sometimes it was just like Bianca Belair's superstar profile when she wrestled the night before, and you're just like, what, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it didn't mesh.
Yeah,
So sometimes you just gotta like, okay, we have 5 minutes to set up. We have a package that's 4:30. We have a package that's 5:30. Let's go with the 4:30, and whatever it is, like if it doesn't fit in, it doesn't fit in.
Or you're like me, and I have a package. This happened to me this weekend. I'm like, all right, you got like a 4-minute match, you got a 15-minute match, and then you have a 20-minute match. And I was like, well, the sheet says 15. The announcer just said 15. I'm going to run the 15. And we had to hit about 11 minutes, and everybody's looking at our people, and my guys are still going to go pee. And I'm just like, oh, what are we doing? What do you mean you want to start? It was like, I'm like, is he talking to you? Is he saying he wants to start out there? That kind of thing. But production, I guess. So.
But that's why, like, I bitch about it all the time. Is that production is at our level, and we have it pretty well under control here. to peel behind the curtain a little bit more, while I don't work for you, I work very closely with you. Doc
Yeah.
works very closely with you.
Yeah.
So we're constantly in communication about production and
Mhm.
minutes and all that stuff. But sometimes there's bleed over in intermission. Sometimes
Yep.
intermission, we want to pull it fast because there was overrun.
Mhm.
It is what it is. It's really frustrating when everyone's looking at you to start and you're like, I don't know where my other guy is, and two of my camera people are eating pizza in the corner. Like, what do you want from me? WWE doesn't have that problem because
No, they don't.
they're so like, say what you will about the artist formerly known as the chairman, but like, that man was strict on times. Like,
Yeah, well, and that's everything. That's just a professional production for on you know, all the way up
Sunday
and down.
Night Football's the
You
same
know,
way.
And when we're doing the MMA shows, they're definitely a lot tighter than what we do a lot of times on the indies for wrestling. But you know, and you know, it just sometimes it's like, oh, I don't really have communication with, like, I don't know, I'm kind of relying on just what's happening out there, and can't figure out like okay, like literally I'm just like, who tells me how to start the show? I talked to the promoters, like, if you're ready and they're ready, I'm like, okay, well, who's going to tell me that they're ready so we can start the show? And then I was like, well, if everybody looks like they're in position, I want to click this package that says that we're going. So like that kind of thing. Or I get yelled at another promotion that was terribly run last year, and I don't know, that does not narrow it down, so I'm not worried about it. Where it was just like, I have a guy yelling, I'm like, why aren't we starting the show? We're 45 minutes late. I'm like, where is everybody? It's like, they're out there waiting. I'm just like, I was told to start when they're in the ring, so tell me what I'm supposed to do here. You know, get them in the ring, I guess, right? So like, I'm not in charge of starting the show. There's a lot of stuff that I don't even understand what happens backstage in an MMA show that I have to wait for. And I don't care. All I care is the people come out. Like, I just got to know, are you done? Is the doctor done? Is the commission done? Great. Let's fucking start this show. You know,
yeah,
kind of
we're on the television side of things. We don't really need to know the ins and outs of the...
I'm not the boss here. You know, if
No.
you want me to be the boss here, I'll crack the rip. But I was not under the impression that I was in charge of this whole situation. I was in, you know, and you did not communicate me to the point where, listen, there's two kinds of shows. It's late. I'm tired. I'm old, and I work with fucking wrestlers. Okay, and it's Monday night. I don't give a fuck right now.
Indy's Bakery's not open right now.
Yes, and this is not a complaint. I Maverick MMA. I worked with it this weekend. The new people at the commission, I'm loving working with so far. You don't need that to be an asterisk with this so far, but but when you do a indie show, it's you this is general production. But if you have a live audience and then you have a streaming audience, most professional wrestling shows that you see that are not on, like, hell, some of them are on Fight TV, that are not on a major thing, that are not TNA, that are not AEW, that are not WWE, not New Japan. They plan the show for the fans of the audience, but they're not thinking about the people outside, right? And that's everything from, like, are you telling the people that are tuning in what the hell is going on, who this person is if it's their first time? The comic book, you know, effect. Why, you know, that's why there's like so much exposition in those bubbles in the first couple pages of every Wolverine book, because somebody doesn't know who Wolverine is because it's their first time picking it up. So there's that. And then there's, like, you know, okay, we want to run these commercials. Great. There's no screen. Shit. There's no communications with the ring announcer. Shit. So now you're trying to run these 30-minute spots, and the ring announcer has no communication to know when the hell he's supposed to come back. They're vamping with the audience, maybe they're throwing t-shirts. You come back in the middle of the promo going on, and nobody, like, what's this weird shit that I'm coming back to? Or we're already sending the first or second person out, and you break into that. You know, which I'm told, which I think Rich of all people told me that was okay, but it bothered the hell out of me for coordination. And I was just, you know, and then you have shows where it's just literally you sit there and everything the live stream sees, you see. There's a screen, there's promos, you all see the promos, right? 2PW. Actually, 2PW would be the one that does this because they present a lot of things on that screen, right? Not a ton, and there's some things we would love to do that we haven't sorted technologically to make that a little smoother for the live stream. But again, hey, there's going to be this promo. Okay, everybody sees the damn promo, right? Hey, there's going to be a promo. Great, there's no screen. That means nobody in the audience knows your story of what you're trying to put over. Right, or vice versa, like that kind of thing. Sorry.
I mean, we like if we're gonna segue into 2PW, let's segue a little bit into it. Is that we had a couple videos pop up last show of just news clippings,
that
like
was weird.
The weirdest things, and I remember going back to you and being like, "What was that?" And you're like, "Hell if I know," like, and no one knew. It was a live jack in, like those things shouldn't happen, but they do sometimes. QR codes happen, things happen. It's wrestling. Like you just expect it. Like I'm interested to see if they continue, if it was just a one-time glitch. The building we're in, the Worthington Civic Center, is old. Maybe someone was trying to like download something over at the freaking popcorn stand and got their wires crossed. I mean, things happen. The billboard might have went on the fritz. I don't know.
The billboard. Yes. But anyways, so there is a lot going on this weekend. But here, let me give a quick plug before we get into that. If you are interested, yes.
No, that's a good idea because I was really, really starving for some slice on Broadway, so I'll wait for that one.
Oh no, we're doing the indie wrestling one. So.
Okay.
But yeah, IndyWrestling.us. We got 3 live shows happening this week. Of course, we have the Thursday Night Fights. It's our training show. We try out some cool stuff. And honestly, I'll be watching all these remotely myself on the Indie Wrestling Network because I ain't in town. I'm going to be out in Michigan doing some work of a non-wrestling capacity. But I'll be checking out what's going on Thursday Night Fights. Of course, we're talking about, Prospect Pro Wrestling. Lebanon Dawn Enterprises is going to be having the show. I think it's Full Control, if I'm not mistaken, here on Friday. And where
nope.
What? No, that was an earlier one.
That was an earlier one.
Pay your respects. Pay respects.
There you go.
That's it. That's going on this weekend, and we'll get into that in a moment. But also, we have RWA's show as well that's going down. So we'll talk about those in a moment. A lot of movement there, but go check it out, IndyWrestling.us. Hell, Pittsburgh, you got a lot of choices. You could make it a 4-day wrestle week if you really want, outside of network. And I have no problem. You mentioned podcasts outside of the network. I will give props to our friends over at Enjoy Wrestling. I got 4th row tickets myself. I'll be checking out what's going on there. We're going to see. First, I want to give shout outs and good vibes out to Edith Surreal, who I think suffered her 3rd concussion from the note that I saw a few days ago, and is going to have to indefinitely end in-ring action, which means that the Enjoy Championship is become vacated. Sunny Kiss was going to be the opponent. There's going to be an opponent for Sunny Kiss for that vacated championship, which I believe we will find out Sunday, according to the Facebook post I think I read today. So that's going to be an incredible one. Runway against Tyler Breeze, was it Breezango? I don't know if we can officially use that term.
I've been calling them the fashion police.
Fashion police, thank you. Yes, absolutely. A lot of great stuff's going to be happening there. Definitely check them out. Stage A, wrestling back at Stage AE. Like that's the first time I think since before COVID when Ring of Honor and NXT ran down there. That's fantastic. And a local company doing it. So much respect for that. But otherwise, we do have a lot that's going on. Again, Thursday Night Fights, a lot of crazy stuff happened there. We had like a crazy long show. Like a lot of people showed up last week, the Thursday Night Fights. And we were, of course, testing out some new things there as well. That's what we're doing. I think we have some new faces might be coming in as video ops to work with us. And if you guys are interested in training, hit me up at Sorgatron on the social medias, and I can give you information for that. But let's start with Friday night. We do have Pay Your Respects from Lebanon Dawn Entertainment. Of course, you will be on the mic for that one. So what are the kind of the top prospects? Why should people be tuning in or coming up to Worthington for the show?
Oh God, there is man. Well, for starters, because LDE has brought in the last 2 weeks or in the last two shows rather, the biggest gates in the history of this company, whether it be Prospect Pro Wrestling or LDE. Um, things have been going incredible. And we have a new champion, Preston Everest, successfully cashing in his Wally White Memorial Trophy, doing it in a very incredible way to become the new top prospect champion. That pissed off some people. That pissed off Jamie Jameson, which was to be obvious, but also pissed off the man Dime Elijah Dean, who earlier in the last week inserted himself into the match. So now it will be a triple threat for the top prospect championship. I think Preston Everest is the future of wrestling in Pittsburgh. I think he's immensely talented, has a great mind for this combat sport, is constantly thinking, constantly maneuvering himself into the best place he possibly can be in. But he did a cardinal sin, in my opinion, which is get involved in a situation where Jamie Jameson and Elijah Dean are punching each other in the face. Those two hate each other, except for if you involve yourself in them fighting, in which case they will hate you. It's going to be a tough first defense for Preston. I think he has the gumption, but triple threat rules are in play. He does not need to be pinned for the decision to count. So he has to remember that. We'll see what happens Friday in Worthington. Also the tag titles are on the line if we want to talk about those. Local 814 getting their shot at the tag gold. They were not there. I'm not sure if that was ramifications on what occurred with Papa Judo and all that stuff, but they were taking care of business for LDE in other places, and they will take on Warhorse, who just won the tag titles, and that is going to be a big thing because it is two LDE sponsored, LDE supported guys going up against, I think, one of the most dominant tag teams in the 3 states, 4 states, 5 states, 6 states, the whole Midwest, the whole Northeast. They have been destructive. They hold tag title not only at 2PW but also over at RWA. So God, that's going to be a brutal fight.
Running the table.
They have been. I mean, honestly, they've held. I'm pretty sure they've held damn near every tag title in this area worth talking about. So, that's all the credit to Pat the Bruiser, all the credit to Crosshairs Kelly. They are a destructive force. It takes a lot to take them off their feet, put them on their back for a 3 count. Does 814 have it? I don't like betting against JJ Rumham. I don't like betting against Bennett Cole, but I also don't like betting against Warhorse. So that's an up in the air one.
And another one, I'm happy to see that women's wrestling returning to 2PW.
Yes.
LDE. It's hard to switch. It's
It's not that hard.
Well, but no, of course, Katie Arquette is going to be coming back to the company and taking on a newcomer, Ava Brooks, I believe. And I don't know if this is one of her first match. I know somebody has been in training. I've been seeing working out with some of the pros down there at Prospect Pro.
This is her first match.
Okay.
This is Ava Brooks' first match. She has been training with several of the wrestlers that grace 2PW. She's been busting her tail to get there, and she is being rewarded with her hard-fought training, her hard-fought preparation, her hard-fought professional debut against one of the most dominant women in Pittsburgh wrestling history. Good luck, kid.
Yeah, seriously. Yep.
Katie Arquette is not going to take it easy on Ava Brooks. I don't care that Ava Brooks is just turning 18 or near close to it. She's just becoming a professional. It's a W or an L in Katie Arquette's, and Katie Arquette is a multifaceted, multi-time women's champion. Has the ability, I don't have it in front of me, but to hold non-gendered titles. famously, I believe, holds a yet to be rewarded #1 contendership heavyweight championship opportunity at a company. And I hope that Big League Pro, but I'm also not going to force that. Katie Arquette's Katie Arquette. So it's like, sorry, Ava, you're nice. You've been very sweet. You've been working your tail off to get ready. Good luck. But if she does survive, and the key word there is survive, I see a bright future for the young Ava Brooks.
Absolutely. So a lot of good stuff there. RWA Saturday night. Now I know there was a big change. Ethan Page was booked for this show. Ethan Page got busy with WWE. So,
wait, what?
Something happened with Ethan Page this weekend. We didn't even talk about Jordan Grayson stuff, did we?
Yeah, no, we missed talking about.
We'll get back to what we learned. But so Ethan Page, obviously, WWE gets involved. Your indie bookings kind of go bye at that point. So, and I'm like, wow, usually there's a better person or a really good get, to replace somebody like that. And we got Ryan Edmonds returning.
I don't like the tone you just took there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try it again. We got Ryan Edmonds.
See, you're missing it here because when I saw hold up, I'm going to speak now.
Okay.
When I saw that Ryan Edmonds was going to graciously come back to RWA, a company that has treated him like dirt, despite the fact that he is one of the most decorated champions that RWA ever saw in its 15 plus years, and he's coming back to fill the void because All Ego got all WWE'd out of his booking, and Ryan Edmonds, out of the courtesy of his heart, is coming in. I mean, and we're going to still bring up hot dogs. We're going to still bring up all the funny business and the lulls and the blah, blah, blah. Can I remind you guys that this is one of the original founding members of the Circle? Or did you guys forget that one? I'm talking to you specifically.
Oh, wait,
Sword.
me? I was just hanging out here with Mikey and just kind of enjoying life and enjoying, concession stand items like pizza.
Yeah, you're funny. You're funny. I'm not stupid. I know what you're doing.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean.
No, yeah. Yeah.
You coffee or you tired? It's really late. I mean.
We are lucky to have Ryan Edmonds step up to the plate in such a manner. Well, we're lucky.
John McChesney's lucky to have an opponent, and I'm curious because this is, I believe, a first-time meeting. John McChesney and Ryan Edmonds.
Yes, they have never wrestled before in the history of, which is insane to me. Insane to me that these two with such an amazing careers have not faced off against each other. That was kind of shocking to me. First time for everything, and we are lucky to have it in West Newton, Pennsylvania, although we are unlucky to be in West Newton, Pennsylvania.
As long as you stay clear of that subway.
Oh, that subway sucks.
Yes, just ask Ricky Morton. Anyway.
Can we also talk, can I talk about something? Can I talk about something? Because the ink...
Go ahead.
The ink just dried on this 48-ish hours ago and was just announced 6 hours-ish, 12 hours-ish ago. My guy, Beastman, will be going up against Eli. This is Eli for the No Limits title.
Oof.
You can find that if you want to. Yep, there you go.
Hey, look, you're in the corner. Look at you.
Yeah, I need a new photo.
Actual size. Oh. Next to Beastman.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So we are going to have an opportunity to take that title. I have found that in the few months that I've worked and cultivated my relationship with Beastman to the point where he is completely under my tutelage, that he really enjoys shiny things.
Okay.
And what is more shiny than RWA Gold?
They literally polish the belts before every show.
They do.
Yeah.
It reeks.
They are. Yeah, it does smell, but they look nice.
They look great. And I think that the No Limits title would look great around Beastman's waist and in Beastman's mouth. Let's be honest, it will be in his mouth. And listen,
a lot
this
of things
is not
in his
enough.
mouth. A lot of things in his mouth.
Trust me, I'm the one who with the jackets. This is not a knock on Eli, and I want to talk to Eli right now about this. Eli, I've watched you since you came up. I have seen you do things that humans shouldn't be able to do because gravity exists, and you do them anyway. I have seen you go through multiple incarnations and become who you are today. You went from someone who was behind Project X to become your full-fledged man. You are no one's second. You are Eli. And I am immensely proud to be able to have called your career up until this point. It's too bad it's over, because on Saturday, you are running up against a man who doesn't feel fear, who doesn't feel stress, who doesn't feel anything other than destruction. Beastman will run you over. Big train, keep on rolling. Good job. I love that move. That cannonball splash, that's a great thing. Try to cannonball a man who is a literal destructive force running at you. You can't fly when you're sat on by a monster of the Appalachian Mountains. That's what Beastman does. He took Lance Archer to the limit. Good luck, kid.
First of all, I think you say Appalachian weird. Second of all, tell me more about this relationship with Beastman.
It's great.
I mean, how do you communicate? Like, I mean, I can't. Does the Beastman have a phone? I cannot imagine the Beastman calling you randomly almost every day with just, you know, the most interesting tidbits and questions about things about wrestling promotions or anything like that. I cannot imagine that kind of situation, what that must be like for you.
This is dead air for those who are wondering. It is none of your business how I handle my client. It is none of anyone's business how I handle my client. The only business that matters is the business that occurs in the squared circle. Beastman is doing great. He's doing phenomenal. He is doing masterfully. He has an opportunity at Championship Gold. How much else could you want as a professional wrestler? How much could you want as a person? Beastman is a person.
I have more Beastman questions that I've always wondered about and never got an answer for this. Okay, so I just want. I mean, you're the person that knows now. You're the person that knows the intimate details, and I haven't known somebody that's known the intimate Beastman details such as you. You know, I mean, you probably know more than a significant other for a Beastman. You know what I mean? Like for instance, like how does the Beastman get to the venue? Does he have a driver service? Does he come via foot-propelled car?
He gets there, however he gets there, and I don't ask questions about it.
He just arrives? How do you notify Beastman of bookings?
He arrives when he needs to be there, and I don't ask questions about it.
Is this more an instinctual thing? Is it like migration? Is he like Canadian geese?
No, but when you are a person of the power that is Earth, when you have lived on this plane for as long as when you have been such a destructive force as Beastman, you know where war is coming. You feel it in the ground. You feel it in the wind. You feel it. You feel that the hunt is on.
Okay.
He knows that the hunt is coming Saturday.
Is Beastman more of an Encino Man situation or more of a Hercules in New York situation?
He's more of a you keep asking these dumb questions and you're going to find out personally what Beastman is like situation.
Don't want any of that. Oh, well, good thing I'll be at least 3 states away.
You think that's going to protect you? Because once we win the No Limits title, I'm sending him up to Dearborn.
It's a good thing I'm not in Dearborn.
It was the guess I had.
It was like the guess. I don't know where Dearborn is, but I'm pretty sure it's not where I'm going to be. But it's definitely in the wilds. All right, a lot of stuff going on. Again, rwalive.com, prospectprowrestling.com for ticket information. Of course, we will have everything at IndyWrestling.network, IndyWrestling.us YouTube page for subscribers over there. There will be a free preview. There should be a free preview, the first match or two for each of those shows. Waiting for information for that before we can officially tell you what's going on there. So go check that out. Well, at that point, we will, because I know you've been waiting for this, is we'll give a shout out to our friend Slice on Broadway. Not so much tonight. We got a late weird show and nobody in the studio, But when Tony comes down, we do bring in the Slice on Broadway. I know Megan was in here last week enjoying it. New York City Stallions are made. Give a shout out to our friends right up the road. The original, the OG Slice on Broadway here in Beechview, right up the tracks from us. And, of course, multiple locations around the area. I grab some White Claws there every once in a while, so as well. So check them out, Rico and the guys, supporting some great stuff. Of course, some other projects that we've been involved in around, not wrestling. Yet the industries are similar to wrestling, but I won't get on another rant. So go check them out, sliceonbroadway.com. Tony Kincaid.
Yes.
What did you learn from wrestling this week?
Oh, good Lord. I learned that the TNA Knockouts title, people keep trying to grab that. Like, that might be a hot commodity. And honestly, like, how cool would it be if we could swing it somehow to have the title maybe defended? Maybe have some different titles. Maybe have the NXT title. Maybe have a title versus title. The possibilities are endless. This partnership changes so much. And I also learned that I really want to see Drew McIntyre and Joe Hendry reignite their rivalry.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, would that be fun?
So I kind of to tack onto there is a TNA show if you sign up for that new TNA Plus. This Friday they're doing that, and there's going to be a Jordan Grace TNA Knockouts World Championship Open Challenge. So keep an eye out for that.
Also, another thing I've learned, and of course this has been something that I've been keeping an eye on heavily in pro wrestling, is the latest QR code that popped up on Raw tonight has started giving a countdown, and that countdown once again references June 17th in Corpus Christi. We've all heard the rumors. We all are kind of believing that this is going to be the remnants of those who followed Bray Wyatt. As someone who was destroyed when Bray Wyatt passed away, to see this next incarnation of his vision that he had with his brother, what he had with so many other people in pro wrestling, I'm excited to see. I wish it wasn't in Corpus Christi, because Corpus Christi's crowd sucks. So I'm really hoping Saturday at Clash at the Castle we see something too. And I'm excited for this week in wrestling, because there's a lot of good wrestling going on this weekend.
Yep, maybe a little tease maybe on Saturday with Clash at the Castle. We didn't even talk about that. That is happening. What I learned is earrings are dangerous. So Jordan Grace being
anything with ears in wrestling is dangerous. But go on.
Oh yeah, because Jordan Grace lost an earring, ripped out of her hair, and I loved, like, Lady Frost was actually saying, like, that probably hurt worse than any bump that she took during that match too, which, yeah, I could see that. So that was a big one. Like, she, you could tell something. I thought, like, you saw her mouth something, and it looked like, I thought she said, "I fucked up my arm." I'm like, oh no. But I think it was, "I fucked up my ear." So, and did you notice that the earring was stuck in Roxanne's leggings for like another half of the match?
It made me realize a bunch of things. Seeing that injury. First of all, I am squeamish as all hell to ear injuries, apparently. Secondly, Roxanne Perez is a pro. Jordan Grace is as a pro. I already knew Jordan Grace was a pro. Like, anyone who didn't know that Jordan Grace was a pro wasn't paying attention or was stupid. And I'm on the internet a lot, so I know it was mostly people being stupid. The fact that they were able to wrestle a match, when, quite honestly, like, ear injuries are rough. I mean, read anything when Mick Foley talks about losing his ear and how terrifying and hard it was to work with that. And it was just a rip of the earring out. Like, yeah, kudos to those two. Kudos for Jordan Grace to be able to continue and finish that match, because I would have been throwing up X's and just getting the fuck out of Dodge. So, I mean, legend. Also, you mentioned Lady Frost. We haven't even talked about, she had a great match against Toni Storm.
Great showing with Toni Storm. I was glad to see the freeze move came back. made famous doing it to Mick Foley that one time in the Youngstown area. And the perfect thing, the close up and the black and white with Tony Storm. So good. All of this, the interactions with Mariah May, this match with Mariah's old partner from Stardom. This is such a story. I'm so
Hold up.
into this.
I'm getting, I hate to interrupt, on social media right now, reports Ricochet's injury seems to be pretty serious. For those of you who don't know, Ricochet was slammed through a car windshield. It was real glass. Braun Breaker put him through. The last shot we had on Raw was Samantha Irving and him being sent to the hospital in an ambulance. So thoughts to Ricochet, and hopefully the Puma is still in him, if rumors are to be true.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of rumors with things going on with them in general, so I'm kind of curious to see where that goes to. So
it could also, let me remove the veil. It could also, I am not putting anything away from the current incarnation of WWE to work the dirt sheets for funsies. Like, if this is the end of Ricochet, if Ricochet is done with WWE, he's not renewing his contract this summer and is going to go to AEW to have his match with Will, that match is going to bang. At the same time, it could also be a massive swerve, and that'd be hilarious too. I love pro wrestling right now. It is great.
Yeah, maybe this is the coming of Ricochet. Who knows? Who freaking knows?
Who knows? Buckle up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just buckle up.
Tony, thank you so much for joining us here on this weird Monday night. I will be hearing your voice in my video stream and in my dreams this weekend for RWA and LDE2PW shows on IndyWrestling.us.
I look forward to your text messages when something goes weird.
What the fuck are you doing?
You're not allowed to say that on air. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know this wasn't America.
Whoa. Somebody's been reading the sign. Thank you so much. At Sorgatron on the social medias. I'll be on the road this week going up to Michigan International Speedway for another gig with our friends with SAE. So I'm sure there will be hijinks galore between myself and Dutters on the road as we're tag teaming this project here this week. So I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly, there's no plans other than the event itself. So who knows what we'll get into.
And then I might, did you say I might see you Sunday at Enjoy?
I will be at Enjoy. So
okay.
Where are you gonna be? Where'd you get?
I just have general admission tickets. I thought about buying ringside, but then I realized my face is too famous, so might as well just want to hide in the back.
Yeah, nobody knows who the hell I am, so that's fine. That's fine.
Last thing I need is to watch my guys have a big match with Fashion Police and some random asshole just it happened at the Ren Fair.
Oh
once.
my
It
God!
was
Yes.
fucking atrocious.
You should wear like a baseball cap and sunglasses indoors.
I'll tell you, one of these days I'll tell you about the Ren Fair situation, because I was not happy with that dude, and I have never come closer to fighting someone at the Ren Fair.
The Ren Fair throwdowns. You heard it here. Thank you so much for joining us here. Hope you enjoyed this Tuesday morning download surprise for you guys on the podcast. Thank you, Patreon. No Patreon this week, just because of time constraints and everything. We'll be back to our normal schedule next week, and we do have scheduled Bubba Brewer will be joining us, talking about his big show happening in Indiana, PA, with I think the main event is, if I'm not mistaken, EC3 and Bill Collier, I believe. So a lot of fun stuff's going to happen.
Damn,
there.
I'm going to have to go up to Indiana next week.
Yep. So we'll see you guys next time. Mayhem out.
Just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you want.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.